And now, from crossing Delancey to another kind of romance, the tale of a wild rock and roller and his marriage to his 13-year-old cousin. Jerry Lee Lewis is the latest 50s legend to get the movie treatment, recently doled out to Chuck Berry and Ritchie Valens. When Great Balls of Fire came to London's Hammersmith Odeon to shoot its final scenes at the beginning of this year, we were granted an exclusive audience with Dennis Quaid and Jerry Lee Lewis himself, still crazy after all these years.
Boy. Yeah.
In a very short while, they're going to do a first shot. What you're doing among yourself is pretty much what you have to do in this scene.
Stand by, please.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
On fire. Is he, baby? Feel good. Hold me, baby. Well, I want to love you like I love a should. You're fine, so kind. I want to tell this world that you're mine.
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I was 4 years old, and we were stopped at a train signal, and my dad, on the radio came Great Balls of Fire, and my dad turned it up, and I was in the back seat standing on the seat, and I started jumping up and down, and I put my head right through the headliner of the car. And he got all mad and everything, but he didn't turn the radio down.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It gets me, baby. Woo.
I said yes to this one because it was getting later in life. Years were rolling by. It was time to do something, forget about it, and it looked like this was about the last chance they get to get it done.
So we really focused on what we think is the significant two-year period in his life, 1956 and 1958, where he, in that 18 months, he recorded Crazy Arms, Great Balls of Fire, A Whole Lot of Shakin', Breathless, High School Confidential, You Win Again. And I think the numbers are a little distorted, but I'm told he sold 25 million records in 18 months back in 1957.
And then I got married.
Taking a third wife and his cousin at 13, which in that part of the country was nothing out of the ordinary, other than the fact that it was his cousin and he hadn't properly divorced his previous wife.
I never figured I'd done anything that bad or that wrong. Apparently some other folks disagreed.
And London press, and I guess the London just wasn't ready for the news about his bride.
I didn't pay any attention to what was going on anyway. I don't think they did. When I left out of the Westbury Hotel, I checked out going home. It was my idea to go home. It wasn't nobody else's idea. I got sued. Cost me $100,000.
He went from $100 a week playing the darkest, toughest cowboy redneck bars to making $10,000 a night to back to $100 a week. And it was literally an 18-month period that I think he's never really quite understood and quite recovered from. Hopefully the movie will explain it and, in a way, sort of redeem his career.
Jerry, I got married before God.
Jerry Lee Lewis, I think, is the ultimate extrovert, probably on earth. And it's great having somebody alive for me as an actor in playing them, because it's like a gold mine. Instead of just seeing somebody on film and watching them there, as far as research goes, you actually have a chance to get at the person's heart. And I went on the road with him for about 3 weeks and talked to him, and basically came to the conclusion I'm playing a 9-year-old boy who fell in love with music.
Here he is, jumping and jolting, Jerry Lee Lewis.
I think Dennis is just a natural actor, and he tied into a part here that he can handle it. It's not been easy for him, but he's handled it. Nobody else would have done it. No. He was born to do that.
I haven't really had much to do with Jerry Lee. You know, I've kind of taken the position that, I started out years ago working in documentaries and cinema verite, and I learned fairly early on that when you make a film about a real person, you can't avoid betraying them in one way or another.
Stand by, shooting again. Clear those doors at the back.
I felt that for my own sake, in order to be able to kind of preserve my approach toward telling this story, that the best thing I could do would be to keep myself at arm's length from him. But although all the actors in the film have become very close to the people they're portraying, and it's made for some interesting chemistry.
Jerry Lee has a very close relationship with God.
Jerry grew up in a culture where the right thing to do was to become a minister and to do the Lord's work. And he went to Bible college in an effort to do that. But he broke out into boogie-woogie in the middle of some recital and was thrown out. And I think he's been constantly torn between doing the Lord's work and doing the devil's work. And if the devil's work is rock and roll, he's chosen the devil's work. His influence, I mean, his first cousin, I don't know if everybody's aware, is Jimmy Lee Swaggart. They grew up in the same house together.
Is he in the movie? Jimmy's in the movie? Well, he didn't say anything to me about it.
And originally this was sort of a Cain and Abel story between the good cousin and the bad cousin.
Is he really in the movie?
With the recent events that have come out about Jimmy Swaggart, I'm not sure who's Cain and who's Abel anymore.
I'll probably end up getting third billing.
You got me burning up like a paper cup. Woo, woo, I'm on fire. I like it done what I thought it was funny. You came along and you moved on it, honey. I changed my mind, little love is mine. Little reggae should take all the fire.
I wanted to sing for Great Balls of Fire because as an actor, I asked myself, what would I do if I were the character? Went around with that, and Jerry Lee didn't want it, of course.
I said, no, son, I don't think we better do that. I say, you'd be lucky if you just get off with acting, Jerry Lee Lewis. Now, you start trying to sing, Jerry Lee Lewis, play piano, somebody goes start shooting.
And he said, cut Great Balls of Fire, we'll see. And I cut Great Balls of Fire for him, and he liked it. And so we worked out a deal where I was going to do half the singing, and he'd do half the singing. But we went to the studio, and Jerry Lee bested his original Great Balls of Fire. And he bettered his original Whole Lot of Shaking going on.
And he blew us all away. I think the piano playing is better than it's ever been.
I finally came to my senses. Classic rock and roll songs. And he's alive, so why not have him do it?
He's pantomime. He's lip syncing. There ain't no notes of the piano he's playing, man. He's just hitting dead strings like this, you know. My fingers are going to play. These fingers. Come on, baby, shake it all night long. Shake it pretty, mama, till you make a bumper, bumper, I'm a wild one. Hey, baby, I'm a wild one. My name is Jerry Lee Lewis from the Louisiana Road. I'm a wild, wild, wild mother humping child.
Not bad for a 54-year-old, eh? Would you believe that Jerry Lee is currently without a record contract? There's no justice. Well, that's about it for this week. Next week, we'll be meeting Richard Gere, Natasha Richardson, and a Universal tour guide named Eric. I'll be reviewing more cinema releases, as well as